Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be playing with some watercolor pencils that I got for Christmas, so I figured I'd make an art vlog and we can just play around with them together. So that I had some direction and wasn't going into the sketchbook completely blank, I did a couple sketches, a girl with a neck up shot, which is like really basic for me if you watch any one of my shorts on my channel. Then I decided to draw some skulls because Pinterest was really pushing skulls on me when I typed in what to draw, and I really liked how they turned out. They looked super difficult, but to be honest, this was pretty easy. And that's the front facing one. And I saw a lot of different angles for the skulls, so I decided to do one extra one, and this is going to be kind of like a 3/4 shot, I guess. And it turned out really nice as well. I like how the jaw turned out in this because there's going to be a little jaw gap coming up here. Yeah, I really liked that. And for the final drawing, I did a frog, and again, this was another thing that Pinterest really wanted me to draw, so I decided I would. I really don't regret it. It turned out very cute, although the toe pads were pretty difficult and gave me a lot of trouble. The rest of it was pretty simple, and I love the way it turned out, especially these little highlights in the eyes. Those are my favorite part, not gonna lie. And so these are how the final sketches turned out. Yes, they're kind of random and all over the place and don't really have a theme, but with the watercolor pencils, I have a plan to use different techniques on each of these drawings, and I think it's really gonna turn out well, so let's get into that. In case you're curious, I'm gonna be using the 72 pack of the Castle Art watercolor pencils. Of course, some water to activate the watercolor, and some brushes so that I can actually use the watercolor. So let's begin. The first one that I am going to fill in is the frog, and probably because it's my favorite, but this one I just wanted to test how the actual pencils work. So this whole frog sketch is going to be just the colored pencils and not a lot of watercolor. So let's get into that. My first impressions of these pencils were they were really nice, and to be honest, they blended pretty well. I actually really like these a lot, and they worked really well on my very much non-mixed medium paper that we're gonna pretend is mixed medium, especially since I'm gonna be using colored pencils and watercolors. So we can just ignore that and move on. But yeah, these color pencils were very smooth, very easy at blending. I did go back in with a micron and just kind of add more darkness to the eyes because obviously frogs have very big black eyes, and that wasn't really showing through with the graphite. So I just went back in with pen to fix that up a bit. The micron definitely helped a lot, and after that I went back in with some highlights, and this is how it turned out. It turned out pretty good. It looks a bit different on camera. It's more blended in real life for some reason, but I only got to use a couple of these pencils. There's just so many to test, and I did not have the time to swatch them all for us today, plus that would be very boring, so I did not bore you through that. But that was technique 1, and now it's time for technique 2, which is going to be with this girl right here, and we're just going to use the straight up watercolor feature only. So let's get started with that. Gonna need some water and some brushes, and here we go. So there's only one flesh color, so we're just gonna use that one and hope it works out. So I don't know why, but I kind of thought these would work just like watercolors, even though they're pencils. So I swatched it and was gonna put some water on it and a brush and transfer it to the actual sketch, which doesn't work. It also dries 10 times lighter, which I guess is better than darker because you can always add more layers, you know? And it's a lot simpler when it dries lighter, not darker. So I do appreciate that, but this is me learning that you can't transfer it from the actual sketchbook to the sketch. And I did try that even though I realized it wasn't picking up. And then I realized, okay, I gotta actually color in the sketch and then add water. So that's how they're intended to be used, I found out. But yeah, so that's why there's a random swatch there. So this is how the second technique turned out. Obviously it's very light. You can obviously layer it a lot more if you'd like to. I just didn't really have the time or patience for that, but it's very nice. And for the third technique, again, my heart was set on this transferring thing. I really wanted it to work just like watercolors. So I did different amounts of pressure with the same charcoal black to see if I could get different shades instead of how with typical watercolors, how you use less or more water. I figured I could use the same amount of water, just different amounts of pressure on my brush. Now this technique was the best. I loved this one out of all three of them. I also liked these sketches a lot too, so that could be a part of it. But the layering and shadowing effect, the darkness, everything, it was just beautiful. They definitely had more pigment the more pressure you put on it, which is something to keep in mind with something like sketch number 2 that I did, where I kind of just lightly put pressure and then added water, whereas this one I had different amounts of shades and it was very easy to blend as well onto the skull. Definitely, I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty sure the graphite on the sketch probably helped a lot as well, since there was already kind of shading on it, but overall this turned out really cool and I really like these sketches, and this third technique is probably my favorite. I hope you guys are enjoying this video. I had a lot of fun making it and playing around with these watercolors. And just know that I'm not a pro artist at all, and I'm not claiming to be one. I just thought these were 3 fun ways to just play with them and test them out. I'm in no way, shape, or form an expert in trying to tell you these are the only ways to do it, or that these are super original or whatever. I just thought of these ways and I wanted to play around and film a video. So I hope you guys enjoy this. And I hope that maybe you'll have fun and play around with your watercolor pencils too. That is all I have for you guys today. These are how the final ones turned out. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Do all the things, and I will see you next Thursday.